Hey everyone, Ken's Wild here with Wild Child Horsemanship, and welcome back to my channel.
Spotless, neither is you. Once in my life, I'm gonna see it through. You want spotless, I'll always lose. Don't want love, lover, I want the truth.
So I've got a Native American friend, and she gave me a name the other day, and I don't exactly remember what it was, but it was something along the lines of, Kenzie moves a lot. And unfortunately, she's not wrong. So, to kind of summarize, I did move again. I got really tired of roughing it in my camper up in Ash Fork because for 3 years I had no plumbing, no AC, no heat, like none of that shit. Like I had little things like space heaters, but that really didn't fucking cut it. So I was really tired of roughing it. And so then I'm like, oh, well, why not move back to Wickenburg? And then I moved back to Wickenburg and that exploded. It was nothing that I did, but the guy who welcomed me onto his property and was like, oh yeah, I've known him for 3-4 years now, and that's kind of when I figured out shit was a little different. And so then my horse community of people came together, and then they found me a ranch job, and so I moved in, and now here I am, and for today you guys are going to help me get my tack into this room. The first step to unloading my tack is knowing where to put it. I have a 3-tier saddle stand that I have brought with me pretty much all over the state with like every move, and it's kind of big, and then I've got a lot of horse tack, so I just kind of got to figure out where it fits. So that's why I'm moving these over. So here is the saddle stand. One of the biggest things that I love about this stand is that it comes apart. So that makes it super duper easy to move, and when it comes time to actually put the stand back together, it's really easy. Everything just slides right in, and then you're ready to throw your saddles on it. I could not tell you what brand this is. I found this at a yard sale, and I have had it ever since. Now for the saddles, so I will admit I have grown very good at playing Jenga over the years, and due to how many times I've moved, I have learned the safest way to store everything. First up, I have my trick saddle, and I pretty much just keep it for memories. I no longer trick ride because I broke my back a while ago, and on top of that, after studying equine biomechanics, I realized trick riding really isn't as humane as I once thought. Then I've got my colt starting saddle, which I've thrown on a lot of colts just because if it gets ruined, it gets ruined. These ones are typically on the bottom of my rack because the trick saddle is super duper heavy and the colt starting saddle is relatively small. Then I have what used to be my regular saddle, and unfortunately it is not anymore because I just haven't ridden in a traditional Western saddle in quite some time. Then I have this other beautiful saddle, and this saddle has seen better days, so it needs a lot of repairs. These ones typically go on the middle rack because they are not nearly as heavy as my trick saddle, and in the event that I do decide I want to ride in a traditional saddle, they're super easy and convenient to grab when they're in the middle. Last but certainly not least, I have my bazillion saddle pads and the two things that I ride in most, and that would be the Buck U bareback pad and the Total Contact saddle. Then I put on my Buck U bareback pad and my Total Contact saddle, and that's it. After my saddles, then I move on to headgear, and by headgear I basically just mean like halters and the bridle that I typically ride in. First things first, I'm going to try and readjust some things here. I got full permission from my boss that I could kind of move things around if needed to try and make myself comfortable and get all settled in, so that is what I'm going to do. As you're about to see in my camper shell, this is pretty much all that I've got for headgear. So one big thing is that when I'm working and living at other people's places, I like to try and not take up as much space, right? I try and take up as little as humanly possible because I feel that's the polite thing to do, and I don't really have all that much, so if I can fit everything on 3 pegs like I'm trying to do here, then I'm going to do it. And again, that's just a way to be polite on someone else's property. Under my saddle stand and all of my saddles, I will typically put my grooming kit, which also has my treat pouch in it, along with all of my farrier supplies because I do trim my own horse's feet. I also have this philosophy that if I can leave it in the truck, I'm going to leave it in the truck because I've got a lot of miscellaneous things and I really don't need to clutter up somebody else's property. In the corner, I'm going to place my grain, and that's about it. So now I've got all of my saddles and equipment right there. I also have my farrier stand as well as my grooming kit. And then over here, I just have another little area as well. The way I like to organize it is in the order that I work the horses, because typically I'll work Legend and Chaos on one day, and then I'll work with Rebel, Delilah, and Faye the other day. So I've got these 2 halters for them, those halters, and then my everyday bridle is this right here. All of these, except for like this one, are made by Jeweled & Tool Custom Leathers. We are a sponsored writer for them, so definitely go check them out and use the discount code WILDCHILD2024, and you can get some like rockin' shit for a really good deal. I've got my grain right there, my Mare Magic, and a few other things. So that's not my tack. There's a lot of it, but I've kind of learned how to squeeze everything in over the years, you know? The other thing I'm going to have to do a little bit later is run to town and get some duct tape. When I'm on other people's property and they own horses as well, I like to grab some duct tape, write my name on it, and plaster it on some of the big things that it won't damage. So for example, like my saddle stand, I've had a piece of duct tape on there for a hot minute now, and now it's just a matter of essentially rewriting my name on it. Every once in a while, I'll kind of like put it on a saddle, but I'll put it in a way that it won't damage the saddle, if that makes sense. But as for like my Total Contact and my Buck U, it's really hard for people to mix those up with their products. But I like doing that just so that things don't get mixed up and my shit ends up with their shit, because that's never fun trying to figure out which is which, and oftentimes I'm the person who's just like, fuck it, keep it. So, you know, and that's just one of the struggles with barns, whether you're boarding at barns, whether you're living at ranch jobs and shit. It's just a struggle. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this YouTube video. If you've not already, please hit the red subscribe button. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram. Our podcast's available wherever you listen to podcasts. We've got merchandise out there. There's books that I have published. There's all kinds of super cool stuff. So definitely go and check all of that out. The link is going to be in the description. And if you guys want to keep following on my journey just to see where the wind may take me next, whether you've been following for a very long time or this is the first video you've seen, welcome. Definitely stay tuned for more stuff, and we'll see what the future holds.